the Seattle Seahawks making some huge moves. Tom Pelissero was the one that broke the news that they release Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, and Will Dissly. How about that? So now they have, we're trying to figure out the number, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but trying to figure out the number, I guess the effective number, according to overthecap.com, and they allow for what it's going to take to sign their rookie class, the draft picks. So they removed that from the equation, and according to them, they're saying the Seahawks now have $29 million in effective cap space.
And I'm sure that somewhere Matt Thomas is laughing at that number.
Probably.
Because,
Probably not accurate.
But no, I appreciate, Over the Cap and Spotrac of, trying to make their best guess. But, and I was going to say or pose the question, which one's the biggest surprise? To me, I guess it's Quandre.
Yep.
And, Quandre he's been a huge part of, what is he, the only guy in like the last 6 years that has had more than 3 interceptions, and and he just has been so solid and such a leader. So that one really hurt. I mean, the Jamal Adams, and I got to say, Will Dissly, after the year he had last year, is really not much of a surprise. And I don't really know what happened to him, because what did we figure out, Bob? It was like 17 targets or 25
No, 22 targets, 17 catches.
Yeah.
One touchdown.
Yeah, it's a great number. It really is. But, I mean, like, they threw to Colby Parkinson down in Tennessee when, they isolated that guy over to the side, and they put 3 wides to the other side with Tyler and DK and Bobo, and they threw it to him. That used to be Will Dissly. That used to be the guy that they would go to. So I thought I just thought back on that moment, and yeah, he just wasn't a big part of what they did. I mentioned that he did make some mistakes, but yeah, Will's going to be missed. Just his personality. He's one of those guys. What is it with the tight ends? You got Luke Wilson. I mean, these guys are just special type of guys. But it's part of the painful part of having to manage the cap.
Yeah, it's amazing because they're taking a hit cap wise in terms of dead money. Seahawks saved $7.3 million against the 2024 cap by releasing Adams, but they take on $19.6 million in dead money. Releasing Diggs frees up $11 million in cap space, and Dissly's release frees up $6.97 million. So they're and this is the new regime comes in, and you got to believe that. Instead of being at the combine, maybe this is time spent with the new coaching staff collectively getting together, reviewing tape, bouncing ideas off each other. What do you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy? Is he part of the future? How do we put together the roster we see is a winning roster, and who are the guys that we can move on from?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they're looking at it entirely differently. I mean, maybe going into that game, when the Seahawks played the Ravens, maybe Mike McDonald was like, yeah, this Dissly guy, we don't really, we don't think he's a threat. We think this guy's better. Same thing looking at on their defense. And, the hardest one, I think, is Jamal, just because he's such a great player, but it's just been nothing but injuries. And once again, I think we mention this every time we bring his name up, Bob, but he did not have an injury history, it's just bad luck. So that one just did not work out, not because he's a bad player, but just because, he got injured. And you could say the same thing about Will Dissly. I mean, that guy, he was on his rookie year was phenomenal. And then he blows out his patellar tendon. And then the next year gets it up, makes it all the way back, and then blows out his Achilles. And both of those years was on his way to have really good years. I mean, he would have been on the all-rookie team as a tight end, the pace that he was going. So another one that just very unfortunate, and I don't know if they just finally caught up to him. But, yeah, Will Dissly is he's been snake bitten a little bit as well.
So what do you think this is the beginning, that we're going to see more of this, that maybe we see, I don't know, maybe we'll see some restructures? I don't know. There's part of me that thinks this is just the beginning. We're going to see some other maybe contracts adjusted. Maybe it's Tyler Lockett's deal gets adjusted. Maybe, I don't know. Who else did we talk about? Maybe Draymond Jones we thought was like, is he in? Is he out? Is he a guy you need? Trying to figure out how they clear cap space. And you and I had already talked about Dissly being a candidate, certainly Jamal, and Quandre coming off a year that was a little disappointing. It wasn't brutal by any stretch, but it's looking at the highest paid guys are always the candidates. So that leaves a couple of other guys out there. Do you think we're going to see, you get the sense this is the beginning or this is the end?
Well, I get the sense that these are the big splashy, plays here. Maybe it's somebody, that's not as big of a name that, like you mentioned, Dre Jones. Maybe he's not a guy that they, keep around. Yeah, maybe they look at Noah Fant. I mean, those kind of secondary ones. These are the big ones. I feel like they're kind of done with that.
You think readjust Tyler? Anything happened with his deal?
Yeah, I wonder if they can find a way to, give upfront money and things like that. Maybe they'll work something there. But that seems to be, I mean, that would be the biggest surprise, right? Tyler Lockett, if compared to the years. I mean, I think everybody saw the writing on the wall with Jamal, but not necessarily Quandre. I mean, he was sort of a question, and then the Will Dissly thing kind of makes sense. But I feel like we're not going to see a big name like Tyler Lockett all of a sudden, either let go or traded or anything like that. I think they're kind of done, and I could see them making some minor moves with Tyler, where, one of those scenarios we talk about that, you can sometimes give them a bonus up front, and it'll help cap and things like that.
You know what's interesting, Dave, before we hit the break here, is that much like the linebacker position, where technically you've got two linebackers on the roster that are both backups. We've talked about them repeatedly, and John Radigan and Nick Bellore. Those aren't your starters. You don't have any linebackers signed outside of those guys. You don't have any tight ends. Noah Fant's a free agent. Colby Parkinson's a free agent, and now you just released Will Dissly. The tight end has been an elusive position for this franchise. It feels like over the years, thinking back to, who's the stand. They've had great guys. We love Luke Wilson. You loved Will Dissly personality-wise, but in terms of being a really productive part of the offense, I don't know who's been that guy for them at that spot.
Well, and that's a great question because I'm blanking on the guy early on that came to us from the Raiders that was a Pro Bowler.
Zach Miller,
because he was by far the most solid guy I think they've had. I thought Will Dissly was going to become that guy. G. Graham we thought was going to become that guy, and he played more like a wideout, and couldn't block anybody. So yeah, it has been an elusive position, and that's why this kid from Georgia, Bowers, excited when in the mock drafts he's anywhere near where the Seahawks are, because as far as where they're drafting, because I love that guy. So yeah, that's a good point. They haven't had good luck at that position.